Hi everyone! Harvest season is back, and across the fields, thousands of tons of fruits and vegetables are hitting perfect ripeness all at once. But how do farmers race to capture all that value before the sun sets and the harvest window closes? Let's dive in and explore how this massive operation really works, where every second counts and timing is everything. When it's time for harvest, every minute counts. With spinach, the window for perfect freshness is small. If the leaves are picked too early or too late, the quality drops. To meet this timing, farmers use specialized harvesting machines, high-tech equipment designed to gently cut the spinach leaves at the base and separate them from the stems. These machines can handle dozens of rows at once, collecting up to 20 tons per hour. The harvesters move through the fields like a finely tuned orchestra, carefully collecting each leaf without causing damage. It's a fast-paced operation, but everything happens in sync, ensuring that the spinach is ready for packaging within hours of being harvested. When harvest time arrives, every sprout is checked for size and firmness. The goal is uniformity, tight, dense, and deep green. Some Brussels sprouts are harvested by hand, especially for fresh markets. Workers cut the stalk or twist off individual sprouts, moving carefully row by row. On larger farms, mechanical harvesters step in, cutting stalks at the base and carrying them gently to processing lines. A single machine can move down the field faster than a crew of people, but it still depends on skilled operators who know exactly when the crop is ready. If a storm or heat wave is on the way, crews may work long hours, racing the weather to bring the crop in at its peak. By midsummer, onion tops fall, the cue to harvest. Timing is everything. Too early and flavor isn't finished. Too late and you risk decay. Undercutters loosen the bed so bulbs lift cleanly. Lifters raise them into windrows. Topper bars clear foliage before curing begins. Bulbs cure in the field for 5 to 10 days, weather permitting. Sun and breeze dry the necks and skins, locking in texture and storability. If rain threatens, crews shift to forced air curing sheds to finish the job. Even with big machines, people matter. Teams walk rows to spot issues, remove damaged bulbs, and keep the harvest clean. When harvest season arrives, everything changes. Sweet potatoes are ready when their vines begin to yellow, signaling the roots beneath are mature, dense, and full of flavor. This is where timing matters most. If harvested too early, the roots are soft and pale. Too late, and they crack or lose sweetness. To get it just right, farmers bring in specialized harvesters, machines designed to dig beneath the soil, lift entire rows, and gently shake the earth away without bruising the delicate skins. Some farms harvest by hand, keeping every root intact with careful precision. Others rely on powerful machinery that can lift tens of thousands of pounds per hour. If you're impressed by how gentle these machines have to be with such fragile roots, tap like so, more people can see how this really works. Harvest season arrives with urgency. Asparagus must be picked within 24 to 48 hours of sprouting to maintain its crispness and sweet flavor. On some large farms, autonomous robots are programmed to identify and harvest qualifying spears with incredible precision, cutting each one without disturbing the mother plant. However, on many fields, the human touch is still irreplaceable. Dozens of workers move continuously, bending to find and cut the perfect spears. It's a perfect marriage of technology and time-honored tradition. As fall arrives, pumpkins are ready to be harvested. By mid-October, pumpkin farms across the US begin their harvest. Timing is crucial. Harvest too early and the pumpkins won't have that deep color or sweetness. Wait too long and the skin can crack or spoil. This is a harvest at 4-acre farm in Ohio, where pumpkins typically weigh around 40 pounds each. With a yearly yield of over 70 million pounds of pumpkins, the harvest is no easy task. The harvest was carried out by the family, which shows the connection and love they have for the land. When harvest time comes, typically 75 to 110 days for fresh market carrots, storage types can push toward approximately 120 days. Modern harvesters gently lift carrots from the soil without damaging their roots. Glide through the field. Speed and precision go hand in hand to ensure freshness, and belts gently grip foliage to lift roots cleanly before topping. Settings are fine-tuned to minimize breakage and crown bruising. Crews follow the machines, pulling out damaged or misshapen roots and keeping quality high. Massive harvesters lift the potatoes without bruising them, separating soil and stones with incredible speed. It's farming on an industrial scale, but done with care and precision. These machines can process acres of potatoes in a single day, a task that once took weeks by hand. Once the rows flush red, it's go time. High-capacity harvesters sweep across the land, lifting vines, separating fruit, and filling trailers in a single pass. Each acre, often 40 to 50 plus tons, enough tomatoes for thousands of bottles of ketchup or sauce. Steel, belts, and optics move in perfect choreography. The Red River doesn't stop for anyone. Dust rises, engines roar, and the horizon blurs under waves of crimson motion. For farmers, this is the heartbeat of the season. every pass a race against sun, time, and spoilage. At peak maturity, each broccoli head is cut by hand to prevent bruising. Workers cut cleanly across the stem with sharp knives, trim stalk and wrapper leaves to customer spec, then place heads straight into iced or chilled bins to pull down field heat. Crews move quickly through rows, selecting only the firmest, fullest crowns. Harvest teams are trained to act swiftly but gently to maintain peak freshness. Every cut is a promise of freshness, straight from America's fields to your fork. Quick pit stop. What's your go-to broccoli move? Roasted, stir-fried, steamed, or raw? Tell us below, and if you're learning something new, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the season. Unlike many modern crops, artichokes are still harvested almost entirely by hand. Workers move row by row, bending low, cutting each bud with a sharp knife, leaving the plant intact to produce again. One plant doesn't give just one artichoke. Over weeks, it produces multiple buds at different heights, each requiring a separate pass through the field. This makes artichoke harvest one of the most labor-intensive operations in American vegetable farming. In September, the miracle begins. Farmers flood their bogs, turning fields into shallow lakes. Why? Because cranberries float. Special machines called water reels stir the vines, knocking loose the ripe berries, which rise like bubbles to the surface. The result? A bog transformed into a glowing red sea, with farmers standing waist deep, working side by side in water that's as much tradition as it is science. With floating booms, farmers corral the berries into giant circles. It's like herding cattle, except the herd is millions of tiny bobbing rubies. In 2024, America harvested 8.2 million barrels of cranberries. That's over 373,000 metric tons. Enough berries to fill 10 NFL stadiums to the brim, or to give every single American more than 2 pounds each. Now look at these ripe red strawberries. Harvest season is here again. Every year, around 55,000 workers, mostly from Mexico, help bring in the crop. Fast hands, gentle touch. That's the art of picking red without bruising the shine. California produces around 1.3 million tons of strawberries annually. That's 91% of the US supply. The industry generates an incredible $3.4 billion each year. From lunchboxes to bakeries, this crop fuels a statewide economy and simple joys at home. Even on rainy days, the harvest doesn't stop. As one crop wraps up, crews begin prepping for the next, usually within 2 weeks. On this schedule, nature sets the tempo. Farmers just keep the beat. For large-scale farms, harvest is high-tech help done gently. Over-the-row harvesters lightly shake the plants so berries with the lowest detachment force fall onto soft catch plates and conveyors. In the shed, optical and soft sorters remove greens and soft fruit. The plant is protected, the fruit is protected. Fast, gentle, efficient. In the heat of California's Central Valley, grapes grow in silence, but their impact is deafening. 5.4 million tons. That's the weight of America's trust in one fruit. Fresh, dried or pressed into wine, grapes are both feast and industry. Rows of vines stretch across hundreds of thousands of acres. Harvest begins before sunrise. In the cool morning air, machines rumble through vineyards, shaking ripe clusters into bins. Elsewhere, hand crews move swiftly with clippers, working through the vines with practiced grace. In a raisin field, bunches are laid on paper trays to dry under the sun. In wineries, they're destemmed, crushed, fermented, transformed into celebration. Whether it ends up in a lunchbox or a glass of Cabernet, every grape begins with dirt, sun, and human labor. Few fruits are more fleeting than the cherry. At just a few weeks of peak harvest, approximately 460,000 tons are picked with urgency and care. Sweet cherries from Washington are often flown overnight to reach markets in perfect condition. Tart cherries from Michigan become jams, juices, and the filling of beloved pies. They arrive quickly and disappear faster, leaving behind stained fingers, stained shirts, and sweet summer memories. pears are harvested green and ripen with grace. At approximately 510,000 tons, they're grown with care in Washington, Oregon, and California, regions known for cool nights and fertile valleys. Harvest begins in late summer when pears are firm but mature. Workers pick each fruit by hand, gently placing them into padded bins to avoid bruising. Timing is key. Too soon, they stay starchy. Too late, they turn mealy. After harvest, pears are quickly chilled to slow ripening. They're later warmed at stores or in homes to reach peat texture. Soft, floral, buttery. Whether canned in syrup or sliced fresh on a cheese board, pears are quiet companions in the world of fruit. Subtle, elegant, and deeply comforting.